Hello, welcome to Connecting Jewish Grandparents, the Grand Plan podcast. I am thrilled that you are here with me on this journey of empowering Jewish grandparents to reach their potential, to make a plan for what you can really be. And wow, like now's the time to stop and reflect on those things because what a season we have had. Rosh Hashanah, Kippur, Sukkot, put a small statement about the living hostages being returned. It has been a very emotional month. We're about to have Rosh Chodesh, the beginning of the next month. We're moving into Cheshvan. So now that we're moving away from the hustle and the bustle of the holidays, and I really hope that this holidays you got to spend time with your grandchildren and you had family time and you had connections, if not in person, at least digitally, that you had meaningful moments. And if those moments were not as meaningful as you'd like them to be, please reach out. I want to have a coaching call. I want to guide you through the process of really building the legacy, imagining it and bringing it to action. All right. So since now it's not all about the holidays, to me, it's all about the Torah. These parshiot, these Torah portions from through Genesis, Exodus, Bereshit, Shemot, they are phenomenal. They are foundational. And I really could talk about them all day and night. And I've been learning them and teaching them forever. But a couple years ago, COVID. You remember COVID? It wasn't that long ago. And I was teaching pre-K, and they said, okay, outdoor classrooms. You will now, instead of teaching in the classroom, you're going to be outside all day. Truth is, it was really wonderful. The kids did so well outside. But here it is. It's still the very beginning. It's this time of year, and we are in Seattle, Washington, outside. What's Seattle famous for? You know, drip, 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 although it's never just a little drip. Sometimes it is. And sometimes it is torrential pouring. But whether it's a little or it's a lot, the rain is kind of a constant. So when they've said, okay, school is outside, you would think they would have come up with like a good shelter. But in fact, they put up like golf tents, like beach tents that didn't really keep out water. They kept out sun a little, like sunshades. And the result was that you were wet like all the time. So let's just put that as background information. The school year has begun. We're outside, and I'm teaching Torah because it's something I love so much. And now it's time. We just finished the holidays, we finished the break, we're back in school, and I'm gather the kids to tell them the story of Noach, Noah and the Ark. It's a story that you probably know pretty well. But these guys, they didn't know it so well. And the truth is, I thought I knew it really well. I'm the teacher, I'm the expert, and for years we've been teaching it, and you have the little toy animals, and you cut the raindrops out of construction paper and you hang them from the ceiling. Like it's all been done before. And yet, this time, I didn't have so many chairs. They were somewhere else. I gathered tree stumps. We set up tree stumps in a circle in a really lousy tent, and I started to tell the story of Noah, that the people in the world stopped being good to each other. And the master of the universe, the Almighty, said, this world doesn't work. But there's that really good guy, Noah. And he asks Noah to build the teva, to build the ark. And as I'm telling the story, the children are interested and they're listening. And initially, when I started the story, the sun was shining. But then, as I tell it, as Noah is constructing the ark, the heavens in Seattle begin to open. And what starts as a gentle drip becomes a torrential downpour. And I have to yell for the kids to hear me over the rain that is splashing down around us as I tell the story of Noah and his family trapped in this ark that begins to float on the water. Him with all of these animals that he's collected, all the pairs of animals together, huddled in while the rain crashes down. And it was really, for me, nothing like I'd ever taught or really understood the story of Noah. It couldn't have been further from construction paper raindrops. We could really feel it. We could really understand it. The transmission of the story was so real for me and for my students. And that's what I want for you. That's what we're here to do, is to make the transmission of what is important to you as real and as powerful as possible. That's what you are going to do. That's what Noah did. So at first, when the Almighty tells Noah to build this ark, this teva, it's not really that the whole world is going to be saved. Just a very small amount is saved. Just two of each animal. It's not every. I should just say, in case you're already like not as into what I'm about to explain, I want to be clear. My love and my passion for Torah is the Torah as fact. But if that doesn't resonate with you, I respect that. And I want you to embrace the allegory and the powerful truths of the Torah. If the Torah in its entirety is not true for you, that's fine. But somehow this text has held our people together for thousands of years. So the power of that connection and that transmission, that is very real. So whichever way you choose to look at it, I want you to see the powerful truth in it that relates to you. So back to Noach. God says you are going to collect two of everything and seven pairs of kosher animals. But Noach still has to choose. Which of each two is he going to take? And legacy begins the same way. What? You can't, unfortunately, give everything to your grandchildren. It's not possible. And so you have to decide what it is that you value the most in your transmission to your legacy. Can talk about that more in a coaching call. I really hope in the show notes you can click in and we can have a free consultation and then move on to ongoing coaching if it works and resonates for you. But let's look at that legacy. You decide what you want to protect. Noach decides which animals are coming on. So now I ask you, if you could only take two onto your teva of legacy, what are you going to bring with you? What is it that you value the most? If you want some clarity on that question, some quick clarity, take the "What type of Jewish grandparent are you" quiz, also in the show notes, to think about like, oh, yeah, that is what's really important to me. And then in a call, we can really figure out how to make that actionable. So legacy is curation, not collection. We have to preserve what's essential so we can give it to the next generation. They don't want everything. They want what is important, and you have to help figure out what is important. Now, I said whether you take the Torah as fact or allegory, even if you take it as fact, there is still allegory in it as well. Okay? The flood in the time of Noach was physical. The rainwaters poured in Seattle. Those floods felt pretty real too. But our floods, our personal floods, they're also emotional, they're cultural, they're spiritual. That flooding is something that we deal with in so many different ways. Your flood right now might be the disconnection between generations, that fear about the future, or maybe that you don't have enough fear about the future, the guilt about your lack of connection, your being busy with your phone or being distracted and not being who you want to be. So there's so many different levels. Everybody has their own floods. Those moments where everything feels so fragile. What's going to happen next? Do you have an ark, a teva like Noach? Did you build it in advance? That ark is an act of resistance. We can't let it drown. We have to hold it up. So how are you doing it? What is your teva? What is your act for the flood that you fear? Right? So that's my second thing I really want you to think about. One is which animals are you choosing? What's going to go with you? You have to make sure it's important to make it last. What is your teva? How are you transmitting this? All right? Then really, what's it going to be? Like let's funnel it down. I forgot the word, but let's get exact. All right? Noach brings every living thing, all the different types, and if you look at the ecosystem, it's just phenomenal, right? If you could take the Torah to the side for a minute, like you check out the science of the ecosystem today and the balance and how everything works on a cellular level it's amazing. Whether, well, it doesn't matter. That perfect balance, you could spend forever worrying about it. But let's like just try to get it really simple. What's it going to be for you? What are you going to put and pack into the teva? What is the specific things that you are going to transmit? Before I said, okay, it can't be everything. You got to make it more specific. And then we talked about the vessel for carrying it. But now let's really think. Is it the stories? Are the stories the legacy that define the present and the future? The stories of how people met or the immigration stories, the stories of grit and struggle, the happy stories and the sad stories and the scary stories? Or is it in your values, generosity and kindness, humor? Are you the ability to laugh at hard times and to make other people laugh? Is that the thing that you want to transmit? The generosity, be it financial, of giving tzedakah and showing your grandchildren the value of it, or the ability to be there to show up for people in that generous way, making meals for others and showing them how to do it too. Is it in traditions, the Misorah, the love of Torah, of the text, of the Berachot, of Tefillah, the Torah life, and how we live it? Is that what is most important inside of your arc? We just had the Mildado, the Azkar, the Yurtzeit for both of my grandparents on my mother's side, and we gathered at their graves. Wonderfully, they're not so far away from my house, and I gathered with my parents and my aunt and uncle and all of my first cousins, and we told stories. We told stories of their lives. Now, the way that my mother and aunt choose to do it is each year they try to frame what they what stories they're going to give, what lessons it's going to be each year, and the effort that they put in to what direction it goes into and the research that they do to create the stories. It's so beautiful and so valuable. But it isn't what I decided was beautiful and valuable. It is what my mother decided she wants to transmit to the next generation about who her parents were to her. That's what she puts into the arc. The funny stories and the hard stories. And there were some really funny ones and some really hard ones. And some that you might not think were very interesting, but all the details, maybe not all the details, but the details are important. They mean a lot. So what we pack into the ark, into our teva, shapes the world that our grandchildren will inherit. So think about it. Can't pack everything. What are you packing it in? And what specifically are you going to pack? But I keep saying you. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Noach didn't do it alone. He didn't have a big team helping him, and most of his neighbors made fun of him, but he had his family. Everybody from his family contributed to the construction and the filling of the teva. For us, legacy also isn't a solo act. Parents and grandparents and children and grandchildren, it's about coming together. Everybody has to contribute something. To figure out how your grandchildren are showing up, we have to figure out the in-betweener generation and making that connect. I did a whole podcast episode on it. Seven, I think. Podcast seven, maybe, of the circles and the concentric circles and making those connections work. So listen to it if you haven't. But for now, I want you to encourage you to chat with your family about this. Not about the circles. Well, you can. But ask your grandchildren what they would have put into the teva. It's often a discussion of maybe the dinosaurs didn't make it into the teva. Maybe not often a discussion, but it's funny to think about. Or did the unicorns miss getting in? Were there other animals that existed in the world that didn't come into the teva? There's many wonderful stories, midrashic and otherwise, of what went on in the teva. And you can share those with your grandchildren. But you have to listen to them too. Ask them what they would have put into their teva. That's in the more practical and maybe fanciful sense of what you can do with your grandchildren. But it's also valuable to share with them something that you're grateful that was in the teva that was passed to you, right? So either make it allegorical or actionable, real or imaginary, but talk about it with them. Talk about their imaginary teva or talk about the transmission of legacy in the sense of what you are getting. So it could be unicorns or it could be about resilience, but make those conversations happen. Legacy is built in those relationships. We strengthen it through conversation and curiosity and shared memory. We got to be the speaker and we've got to be the listener. The story of Noach doesn't end in the Teva, as you know. We have the bird, which is amazing, and it's maybe its own story I will tell another time. I love that part. But we'll move on to maybe the most famous, the rainbow. What happens when the flood waters subside 150 days later? The dove has gone out, it's come back. They open the doors, and Noah leaves the ark back into the world. What would you do at that moment? Me? If I hadn't thought about it, I'd start rebuilding. Where am I going to sleep tonight? I don't want to be in the teva. I've got this whole world to rebuild. What am I responsible for? What do I have to do now? Start making the to-do list and the plans. That's me. But that isn't right, I don't think. Noah does what's right initially. His first act is giving thanks. He builds an altar and he brings a korban. And then the rainbow appears and a promise is made. The promise that the Almighty is always there for us. But it starts with Noah doing the gratitude. And gratitude is the bridge between survival and renewal. Gratitude is the active acknowledgement and thus connection with somebody or something else. That gratitude is such a crucial piece of the relationships that we just mentioned. So you can't build legacy without relationships, and you can't really build relationships without gratitude, without being grateful for your grandchildren and for your children and for the generations before you that brought you to this place. The story of Noah, it takes, I don't know, 55 psukim, sentences in the Torah, maybe a little more. You can count them. You can decide what is or isn't. And in, well, I mean, the story goes on, but I mean, from the time the ark is built to leaving the ark, 60 psukim maybe? And the Torah portion has another 54 psukim that are about the descendants of Noach. Who had who and who had who? What was the family tree that came out of the flood? Which tells me, and should tell you, that as important as and as wonderful as the story, the experience was of building the ark, bringing all the animals on, the rain coming down, the flood waters, all the days together, the world being covered, evil being wiped from the earth, the rain waters receding, the birds going out to look, the dove returning with an olive branch, the doors opening, mankind refilling the world, gratitude, the rainbow, as beautiful and astounding as all that is, so are the future generations. Equally, or maybe of greater importance, is that Noah did not stand alone. He has three sons, Shem, Ham, and Yafet, and he gives a legacy to them, and they transmit that legacy on, and that continues on until we're going to get to meet next week. Well, maybe whenever else, like Abraham and his story. But the story of Noah, of equal importance to Noah in this Torah portion, is not the ark and the flood and the rainbow. It is about the legacy. It's about that legacy and making it real. It's not construction paper raindrops. It's what you're really feeling and experiencing in the relationships that you are building with the people around you. You and your relationship with yourself, with the in-betweeners, and I can't say it more, your grandchildren. It's so important. So I gave you 5 things to think about this week. Really, I am curious. what it is your grandchildren would put in the ark, what they would make sure to bring. If you want to leave me a comment and let me know what great insights they had or you had from this, or you can schedule a call with me and we can start you on your legacy building journey. From the littlest bit of rain to the greatest flood, you have it in you to create your legacy. You're just gonna have to put it into action. I hope that it is a wonderful week for you as we move from the holidays to the real world. Good luck making it through all of the storms with everything you carry. Give me a call. I want to connect.